Okay, so welcome back to your course on the cognitive biases, the cognitive tendencies, the heuristics, the methods of operating that your brain uses on you to make your life easier, or rather, it's to conserve energy. Okay, we've gone over that several times, and we'll probably go over it a little bit again in this one, but today we are talking about specifically the novelty bias. Yes, so what is the novelty bias? Well, the novelty bias can be defined as we are drawn to things and give more attention to things, everything else being equal, give more attention to things and are drawn to things that are new, that are noteworthy, that are like, ooh, that's different, right? Different is a big word when it comes to the novelty bias. Think new and different and exciting and stuff like that, all right? So what kinds of things are novel? Well, there are all sorts of things that are novel. Okay, for example, like you have different movies that come out. You have different fashions and clothes and different cars and just all of that stuff, right? There's new devices every year that are a little bit faster than the other ones. They have more they operate a little bit differently. They have more features. Yeah, all that stuff. Okay, so that's novelty bias. Now, what does that mean for us though? Novelty bias basically says that things that are new and noteworthy, that are novel, will take our attention and hold it better than something else of equal value and everything else being equal. If you just put a little bit of a spin on it, it will hold people's attention. Now, you have to do that creatively, right? With the right sorts of things. Like, nobody would want to buy the next, the next iPhone, like an iPhone 16 or 17 or 18 or whatever it is we're on by the time you see this. Nobody's going to buy the next one of those if the new feature is that every time you open the home screen, a little, like, one of those boxing gloves comes out of the screen and punches you in the face. That is new and noteworthy, but that is not the kind of novelty that you're looking for. They'll be in the news for that, for sure. I mean, don't you worry, but people aren't going to resonate with that too well. Novelty bias usually needs to be in adding features and benefits or whatever it is that enhance your experience with whatever it is. Everyone knows what it's like upgrading from one piece of technology to another one. So let me put an example up here that we can all probably understand a little. Let's take music, for example. Let's say that you are right here. Okay, this is you. Here's you, and what you're going to do, draw you up here every single time in one of these. So you're going and you're like, hey man, my favorite artist, okay, came out with a new album or something, all right? I'm not a huge music buff. I know some people. Let's just use the artist Pink, for example. All right, most people know who that is, whether you love her or hate her or anything like that. I don't listen to too much of her stuff. I'm one of those people that just kind of, whatever's on, if it's good, there's plenty of songs that I like from Pink, but I'm one of those people, right? That if it's on the radio, if it's good, I'll add it to my playlist or something. I don't usually just have follow somebody like a cult or something like that. Let's do Pink, and we'll draw her in pink since you know. Let's not use an R, because that's not a P. Okay, and she also has this. I know that much, right? Her I is an exclamation mark. You know what? Speaking of novelty, that right there is novelty. Spelling your name, turning that I upside down and making an exclamation mark like you're like, Pink, right? That right there is novelty. I'm glad I actually chose her as an artist. Here's Pink, right? She's Pink. We're not going to draw anything else except for a stick figure like we always do here. Okay, that's my favorite kind of person to draw. It's the convenience. By the way, convenience bias, right? But Pink, that right there, just that alone, just me drawing her brand up there is novelty. Because why? Because you have an exclamation, which is strange to have inside of a word. To have punctuation like that inside of a word, there you go, novelty. Everything else equal, if you had Pink over here, and let's say you had somebody who, I don't know, what colors do we have here? Purple, orange, red. We don't have anything else with an I, do we? Brown, black. Let's take Black, for example. Let's say there was an artist, and their name was Black, okay? No racist remarks or anything like that. Their name was just Black. Like Jack Black or something. And they spelled their name like this. Black. Here's Black. Okay, and they're an artist. I don't know. Maybe they do some classical music. Maybe they do some smooth jazz. Or they're that kind of artist. Maybe they're not a singer, but they're a performer with, like, a musician with instruments, okay? So that's what black does. And pink does, we all know what pink does, okay? But you take a look at their name. Everything else equal, because the name here doesn't have this right there, right? That novelty, everything else equal, this will get more attention, just period. Because, why? Because it has that punctuation inside the name. Isn't that awesome? Now, the other thing is, somebody's name being pink is a lot more novel in itself than someone's name being black. There's plenty of people that have black as their last name, or it's a compound noun, like, Blackman or something like that as their last name. So, since that's kind of common, right, pink, even though that's probably not her actual given name. I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know her well enough about that stuff. I do know about this, and I'm glad that I actually used her, because this shows novelty bias very well. If you like Pink, you probably like that about her. That Pink is a novel kind of artist, though, in the tone of her art, of her music and stuff like that. All of those things, it's not just that she's great at it, but she's great at the performing, and she captures your attention with those things. That's novel, okay? So if you had another musician who, let's say they did the same exact thing as Pink, but their name was Black and her name is Pink and everything else equal, this will just get more attention because of that. People will look at that and be like, huh, that's interesting. That's different. That's new. I've never seen that. I bet you before she started doing that, you probably never seen somebody spell Pink that way. See what I'm saying? So that, the next time somebody asks you, like, hey, can you spell pink? You can't say P-I-N-K, right? You gotta say P exclamation point N-K. That's the proper spelling of her name. Okay, so let's take this a little bit further. What else novelty do we have here? Well, let's just say, kind of like where I was going before, here's you. You want to buy a new record from Pink. Here, Pink is gonna put out a new record right here. Okay, here is her new, here, we'll do this. We'll draw, this right here, y'all, is a CD. Okay, here, CD. And she's got some new music on it. For those of y'all that are too young to know what a CD is, or CD player, or any of those things, it's basically this big, like, inconvenient disc that you need, like, hundreds of to compete with the space you have on your phone now. It used to be you had to have one of those things, carry around this clunky, this piece of technology, and you close it, and then you put headphones. And you didn't have no wireless headphones either. You had a string, okay? So, like, that thing was, like this long, too. Like, we take for granted nowadays that everything, we have all these Bluetooth headsets and whatnot. You had this string that you couldn't get that far away. And if you didn't have the right kind of headphones, only you could listen to that thing at once. Y'all remember that? Any of y'all that remember being on the school bus or something on the way to school, you had those adjustable headsets, right? You had these little headsets, right? Y'all know what a headset looks like, but you had these adjustable ones, you barely see these anymore, that would adjust right here, specifically so that two kids could sit together and they could get two heads inside of this thing, here are two kids, and listen, because you couldn't just give somebody half of it or something and whatnot, and not everybody had headphones and stuff. Now everyone's got a phone, everyone's got a pair of headphones. I've got like 3 or 4 pairs of headphones. There's a pair of headphones just sitting right here, they're just everywhere. But if I look at my couch, I'll find a pair of headphones. Back then, y'all know what I'm talking about. A CD was a very inconvenient and clumsy method. No, now it's a very inconvenient and clumsy method of listening to music. For those of y'all that are much older, a CD is a very convenient and non-clumsy record. It's a small little record, okay? For if anybody doesn't know what a CD is, everybody should. That's why I put it up here. But if you're young enough, maybe you just don't ever use them. You've seen them probably, but you're like, dude, that's like to my generation, that's like a floppy disk. I remember using floppy disks when I was going through grade school, but like it was on its way out too. Anyways, we're getting off topic here. CD. She puts out a new CD, and guess what's on here? Let's say, I don't know, it's whatever. Let's say she puts out several songs in this. Let's just say 8 songs, okay? Because I want to do 8 because do you guys remember what preceded the CD was the 8-track, right? A little tape that you had to rewind, man. When was the last time we had to rewind something? That's convenience bias right there, man. That was like one of the best inventions ever, if I could go off topic a little. Because, like, We don't have to rewind things anymore. People, by the way, a lot of people, like younger people, don't even know what that word actually means. Like, you had to, like, actually wind the tape backwards, whether it went in, like, an 8-track, like a Walkman or something, or whether it, even cars had tape players, right? Or whether it was, like, a VHS or something. Really inconvenient. Anyways, CD, you don't have to rewind it. You can just go to, you're like, okay, skip to the next song or something like that. So that was another reason it was really convenient. So you got a CD here. Pink puts out the new CD, and guess what? All of her fans freaked the hell out, man. It's awesome. Pink's got a new CD coming out. There's new songs on it. Blah, 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 blah. You know why? New songs. Okay? That right there. That's novelty bias. If Pink never put anything else out, like ever, she would kind of slowly fade from, like, the scene. This is how anything works. If you're not always doing this novelty, if you're not always, like, putting new stuff out and changing and adapting and evolving a little bit, you know, then you'll slowly you'll kind of just, you'll move to the back. You'll get forgotten and stuff. That's anybody, no matter how popular or how popular Pink is or how much you love her or something like that. And she would know too. If she stopped producing stuff, or like being the one, depending on who you talk to, producer means different things. But if she stopped making stuff, yeah, anybody would know. Because have you ever heard of anybody that isn't Pink that came out after her? There you go. That's novelty right there too. Like, ooh, who's the new hot thing? Got the new hot songs and the new hot, you know, they got a good sound, man. They got a good beat. They got a good tone, or whatever it is the word people use for this now, though. That's novelty bias. But when Pink comes out with something new, right? All of her fans and stuff, like I said, they freak out. It's awesome. We got new songs, new. You know why? Because novelty bias says that our experience, we want to be entertained and we want some excitement with what's going on. So novelty bias says whatever's new is going to get more, of our attention. All right? If you see 2 CDs, if you're a Pink fan and you see 2 CDs for sale, and then one of them has this new, like this is her new album or something like that, that one will catch your attention. Now, you might still buy the other one, but you will not ignore this one. You're going to be like, what? There's a new album? In fact, most of y'all that are fans, you'll know when the new album is dropping or whatever. And, you know, with technology nowadays, it might not work exactly like this, but you can see where I'm going with it. Like, when new stuff is coming, what happens usually? You start talking about it a little. They're like, ooh, did you hear, you know, Pink is recording again. She's about to launch some new stuff, you know. Maybe she's collaborating. What is it called when 2 people, like, work on a song together? You know, you see it in the title sometime. You know, the title will be something like she has a song, I think it's called Effing Perfect or something like that. Maybe it's just Perfect. And, like, you'll have a song title like that, and then it'll say featuring this other artist or something. So they collaborate on something, and that's a novelty too. They're like, ooh, I've never heard this artist and this artist right here work with Pink. I know this artist and I like them, and now they're working with Pink on this specific song. Pink may or may not do that often, but that's novelty. They're like, ooh, I gotta hear what they're like together. That is new. That's novelty. And novelty bias says that will get more attention than things that are mundane or things that are usual. Once something comes out and you play a song too much, it becomes kind of mundane. You gotta wait a few weeks before you hear it again or something like that. And then you're always listening to new songs. If you don't believe that, by the way, then the only song that you'll ever listen to would be your ABCs or something like that, or Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. If novelty bias wasn't important to you. Novelty bias basically says that as time goes on, you find new things because new things excite you. Another reason, by the way, that novelty bias works on people a lot is because we like to be on the front of information and being in the know about when things are coming out. It makes us feel like superior. It makes us feel ahead of the pack because knowledge, like they say, is power, right? It's at least potential power. And if we know about stuff before other people, we get kind of like a little bit of an ego boost. But it's not just that. It comes from your brain wanting to know more than other people. And new things, there is like there is a value in that because new means not everybody knows about it or they don't have specialized knowledge of it. We're not talking just about songs here. We're talking about, like, if you figure out something new and other people don't know about it, you could gain an edge in society. Not just society, for thousands of years, tens of thousands of years, when we were living in tribes and everything. That's where all these cognitive biases basically come from, is the tens of thousands of years that brains have been around. Some of them have a little bit of definitely a modern touch to them, but a lot of them, like, remember I said, the biases come up so that your brain can save energy. It's like, okay, I know their brain looks at new stuff and all the stuff that's out, and it goes, which thing should I pay more attention to right now? Well, mundane things I understand already. I don't need to look at a CD every time I see a CD and be like, I need to go through an hour or two of somebody lecturing me on what exactly a CD is. What does it do? Why does it exist? Why is this important to me? No, you know what it is immediately when it comes up. You know what her last songs were if you were a follower of her, a fan of hers. All right, so when you see her songs, all the titles that you know and stuff, and you see that on one CD, and you see another one with new stuff, your brain is like, ooh, there's something new, and that's something that you value, something by Pink, right? And they're like, okay, you need to quickly learn this to put you ahead, because back when you lived in tribes on the savannah and stuff, when you learned about things that other people didn't know, like good sources of food, good places that were defensible, that you could, like, maybe a cave or something that you could, like, hold up in and you were safer, or if you knew that, hey, there's some predators coming through this area or a neighboring tribe, the sooner you knew about that stuff, the better, and the more likely it was you were to survive. Okay, so basically that's novelty bias. All right, it says, remember, new and noteworthy things, different things, are going to take our attention a little bit more. That's like when a new model car comes out, like there's a new Camaro or Mustang or just whatever car you like, right? Or a new season of a television show. You're like, yeah, like, and it's exciting. Novelty bias, okay? So, hope you guys learned a lot in this one, and we will see you in the next one.